Your impact is beyond measure. Your influence reaches far beyond the medical task you perform. So, your empathy, your kindness, and the human connection which you establish with the patient leave a lasting impression. So, do not underestimate yourself, do not underestimate your influence.
The care that nurses and midwives give has a profound impact on people's lives, making up more than 50% of the healthcare workforce. They have tremendous influence on the lives of numerous people. This show is exclusively for nurses and midwives, where we engage in the conversation to explore the dimensions of nursing and midwifery.
Thank you so much, Major Radhika, for joining today's show. And it's a pleasure meeting with you. Can you please share your experience in nursing, particularly highlighting your role in the armed forces and any significant challenges you encountered in that setting?
Thank you so much for giving me this platform to speak about my experience, first of all. And yes, I will be very glad if I'm sharing my experience. So, in total, I have total 10 years of experience in nursing, out of which 8 years I have worked as a clinical bedside nurse in Indian Army, and 2 years you can say that in a nursing education field. So, during my 8-year tenure of nursing officer in Indian Army, I had a privilege of working in a challenging environment, in a dynamic environment that demanded high level of commitment and adaptability. And during my these 8 years of tenure, I was posted to three different hospitals across India, and my role does not only involve providing the essential healthcare services, but also it focus on the unique healthcare need in context of the armed forces, basically. So I would like to just talk about my experience little bit more. So one significant aspect of my experience was the diverse range of medical situations which I encountered. I would say that. So because from routine healthcare to emergency responses, I developed a versatile skill set which allowed me to excel in not only in the professional life but in the personal life also. So like I would say that working in armed forces not only required clinical proficiency but also the ability to make quick decision under pressure. So if you want to talk about, like, if I would say about the challenging situation or the aspect of my role, so overall I feel that nurse as a nursing officer in Indian Army, so one of the most important challenging aspect which I could feel that is about posting to a different areas, to the remote areas, when you where you cannot take your family along with you, especially to the field area posting, I would say that. Unfortunately, I did not get that opportunity in my 8 years of tenure to work in any of the remote area, which I really wanted to. But this is one of the greatest challenge which I would see in the today's scenario as a nursing officer in military nursing service. But if you ask me through my experience, see, we have to be available, readily available for 24/7 for our duty, because when I have worked both in outside setting and the military settings also. So when we work in outside settings, there are rosters according to which every nurse has to perform their duty. And obviously we also had our rosters, like according to that we had to work professionally. But in armed forces, your duty is you are on duty every day, every time, right? So I am recollecting my experience from my first posting, that I was working in a periphery unit. I would say that it was not a multi-specialty hospital. It was like 150 bedded hospital. So what we used to do, because we did not have that specialized care back then at that hospital, so we used to transfer the patient to the nearest multi-specialty hospital for any kind of services, specialized services, which I would say that. So at that time, each nursing officer has to accompany one of the patient, and at that time, patient can come anytime, right? Midnight, early morning. So we had to be ready for that kind of duty and stuff. But definitely, this was the challenging phase. But I learned to be proactive in my life, and it helped me a lot, not only in the professional life but in the personal life also. So Additionally, I being a part of military healthcare system, which exposed me to the unique needs of not only the service member, but also the veterans, also their families, also. And I took pride in contributing the well-being of those who have served for our country, understanding the specific healthcare challenges they face. So I would say that overall, my time in Indian Army as a nursing officer was both rewarding and challenging. So it strengthened not only my clinical skills, but also my ability to work in demanding environment.
Your armed forces experience is really inspiring to everyone. You said about the pressure in the armed forces, and obviously it's everywhere. Did you feel like there is a difference between the civil setting and armed forces in terms of pressure, or how fast you have to work, or any other aspect you want to share?
So yes, working in these scenarios like in armed forces and in civil setup, the nursing can be very demanding, both physically and emotionally also. But yes, there is a huge difference, which I would say, that working in a military and in a civil setup. So like I already told you that we had a roster, that in a civil setup we had a roster that according to which every nurse has to do their duty and all that. So one challenge is that you cannot expect that, okay, if your duty is like 7 to 2, so you will be doing your duty 7 to 2. It is like unpredictable hours. Yes, obviously, your duty will be 7 to 2 for some period of time, but you have to be ready for 24/7, any kind of emergency, any kind of work which they will give to you. So it is very different from the civil setup. Long working hours, I would say, the first thing which I felt, that because I had worked both in a civil setup also and in a military setup also. So long working hours, I would say, that because in military nursing service, definitely nursing officers are working for a very long period of time. That is the one challenge which I would face, that. And which the second most important thing which I felt, that in civil setup there is a different role for every nursing officer. Like if you are looking after your patient, you have to look after your patient. You do not have to look for the, like, you do not have to do other things of the, you do not have to look for the administration of the ward. But when working in an armed force environment, because definitely, as a nursing officer, if we are duty at one particular ward, so we are responsible for everything, from administration also, from practical part also, taking rounds also, and so on. So like in armed forces, like, you have to look around the whole ward, including the patient care, which I feel is a little bit, we can say that, I'm not saying that okay, it is much easier in the civil setup, I'm not at all saying that. But what I want to say, that the pressure is more on the military nurses rather than in the civil nurses. And I would say that uh, if we take in a right sense, I had that opportunity to serve in military for 8 years, and I had developed that sense of discipline, and the sense of pride, and the sense of adaptability, which I would say that. And definitely it is very good for me. It had been very good for me, and I'm very happy, and I'm very proud to be served in Indian Army.
Great to know about your experience of Indian Army. What is your current profile? I mean, what kind of job you are doing currently?
Okay, so currently I am working with a recruitment agency, that is Dynamic Health Staffing in Delhi only, and I'm working as a nurse educator. So my role is to provide training to the nurses who wants to go abroad. Basically, I'm giving training for UK and Ireland, and because they have that NHS interviews. So my role is to train them, screen them, and prepare them for their upcoming interviews.
So, as a trainer for overseas nurses, what strategies do you employ to ensure effective communication and cultural sensitivity in your training programs?
So, see, promoting effective communication and cultural sensitivity is very crucial for every nurse who wants to have a successful integration into a new healthcare environment. So before, as a overseas trainer, before I focus on these aspect of effective communication and cultural sensitivity, I always focus on these factors, that because they are the most important challenges which nurses may face. Because see, when they are moving from one country to another country, so we need to remember that the healthcare system of any country is different. The healthcare system of every country is complex, it is different, and it is highly influenced by these two important factors, that is communication and cultural sensitivity. So in my training, generally I include cultural competence training, which address topics such as cultural awareness, impact of cultural factors on the healthcare policies or the healthcare practices of that particular country. So I always try to address the topics of how to improve your communication skills, or how you can modify one's your style of communication when you are working with different healthcare environment. See, a very important part of my training is that to improve your communication skills, that how you are going to introduce yourself to the interviewer, how you are going to because definitely what they are looking for when they conduct your interview, they are also looking for a good communication skills. And why they are looking for a communication skills? Because they also know that they have to work with a different diverse population, they have to work with a patient who are not from their own country, right? So for example, if an Indian nurse who is going to UK, so she needs to understand that even she knows the English language, okay, she knows how to communicate in English language. So communication is not only that how you are, whether you can speak that language or not. Communication is that how good you are able to express yourself to other person. So that is how communication. So I focus on that how we can modify our style of communication according to the patient, according to their understanding. So I also provide training material such as in terms of presentations, PPTs, short videos, and the question answer. And lastly, which I think is very important part, as promoting the open dialogue. So in my session, I create a forum for nurses to share their experience. They can ask question, they can address concern, they can share their experience, and they can seek clarification on how they can improve their communication skills and on the cultural practices and the expectations.
Glad to know about these aspects. In your opinion, what are the key skills and qualities that overseas nurses need to succeed in a new healthcare environment? And how do you address these aspects in your training?
So again, like I just discussed earlier in previous question, that this is one of the important topic which I usually address in my training program. Because as I would say it again, so we need to understand that the healthcare system of each country is different and it is unique, and it is influenced by many factors such as economical factors, such as what type of healthcare policies are there in that country, what is the government structure, social and cultural factors such as demographic factors, in terms of population size, what is the population growth, what is the age distribution, technological factors in terms of what kind of medical technology they are using in their hospitals, information technology, geographical factors like what type of healthcare workforce they have, what is their insurance system, and global health factors such as international collaboration. So all these factors comprise of a healthcare system of any country. So when any nurse who is preparing for overseas nursing interview, it is very crucial to research about the healthcare system of that particular country for which they are preparing their interview. Let's see an example. If you are preparing for NHS UK interview, so first of all you should be knowing about the NHS, like it is a national health services, how it is working, what are their values, what is their mission. You need to be, at least briefly you should know about the healthcare system of that particular country. And in addition to that, knowing the healthcare environment is obviously very important. And a very important point is that not only the clinical expertise, the nurses not only requires a clinical expertise, they also need to have some skills and the qualities such as adaptability, effective communication skills, cultural competencies, teamwork, professionalism, self awareness, and improvement. So these are some of the skills and the qualities which I think that every nurse she has to inculcate in herself when she wants to go into the new healthcare system. And see, success as an overseas nurse is not only about clinical competency, as I have already discussed, but also how well you can adapt to the cultural and the professional differences of that new healthcare environment. So you have to be open minded, you have to be proactive, you have to be committed to lifelong learning, which is very, very important quality if you want to succeed in your interview or if you want to get settled in a new healthcare setting.
As technology is advancing, what we see like fraudulent activities in terms of overseas employment, how can nurses safeguard themselves from falling prey to fraudulent recruitment websites or misleading advertisements?
So, very well said, because as technology is increasing, the cyber crimes are also increasing. These things, these types of misleading advertisements, they are also increasing, and basically, particularly in field of nursing. So here are some of the tips which I want to share with the nurses, that before you enroll and start your process with any agency, so first of all, research about that agency. Look for the reviews, and every the agency for which you are applying, there should be a legitimate agencies. They should have a proper accreditation and licensing. So also be cautious of the job offers that seems too good to be true. For example, extremely high salaries of that benefit. Like, you should be knowing that what is the salaries for of the role for which you are applying, right? So utilize official channels for international recruitment, such as government sponsored program or recognized nursing agencies with a track record of successful placement. So also be cautious about agencies that request upfront payment for the services, because I want to share with each nurses, every nurse, that for UK NHS you should not, there is no payment for the UK NHS process. It is free of cost. So if anyone who is asking for money for the UK NHS process, so that means they are not a, legitimate agency. And also you can seek advice from the nurses who have successfully worked abroad. And remember that legitimate international recruitment process typically involve thorough background check, proper documentation. There should be a transparent communication between you and the recruiters, and you should take some time to research, verify, and consult with reliable resource before you apply for any kind of agency. And here I would like to take opportunity to discuss about our agency, that is Dynamic Health Staff, which is recognized as an ethical international healthcare recruiter from NHS UK, and we have recruited more than 2500 nurses internationally in the last 3 to 4 years.
Glad to know about these all aspects of ethical recruitment, and WHO also emphasizes on many of these things. Specifically, you mentioned like recruitment agencies never ask for the money, so that point is all right, and nurses can be aware of that. Given your background, how do you approach the unique healthcare needs and challenges faced by military personnel? And how does this experience contribute to your training of overseas nurses?
Um, in my role as a healthcare professional with this background of working in a military nursing, I can say that I have gained valuable insights into addressing the distinctive healthcare needs and the challenges faced by military persons. So also serving in military healthcare system involves a unique set of responsibilities that extend beyond the traditional healthcare settings which we follow in a civil setup. So one of the very crucial aspect is that understanding the context of military service. That is, the military persons often face physical, mental stress, including in terms of their deployment, their injuries, their exposures to combat situations, their demand of rigorous training exercise. So when I was addressing these needs during my tenure, I had developed a keen awareness of trauma care, emergency response, and the importance of delivering high healthcare services in this high stressful environment. Moreover, in my experience has emphasized the significance of interdisciplinary approach, because when we are working in a healthcare department, when we are working in a healthcare department, we have to do this. We have to collaborate with other healthcare professionals also to provide a patient-centered approach, right? So, in training overseas nurses, I draw upon these experiences to instill adaptability, discipline, and the patient centered approach. I emphasize the importance of cultural competence and sensitivity, because obviously they are going for a different healthcare environment, as I discussed earlier also. So there is a huge impact of cultural and the diverse background in the health care of that person. We need to understand that every person who comes from different background, they can have a different needs, they can have a different unique needs based upon their experience. And the ability to work in resource constrained environment is also another critical aspect that I integrate into my training program. So overseas nurse may find themselves in a setting sometimes in a limited resources. So you should have that skill that how to maximize your efficiency and make quick decision with available resources. Additionally, my military healthcare background underscores the significance of preventive care and the mental health support, which also I emphasize in my training sessions. And in summary, my experience in military nursing informs my approach to healthcare delivery by focusing on adaptability, interdisciplinary collaboration, cultural competency, and the patient centered approach. So, I believe these principles are very valuable not only in the military healthcare setups but also in preparing the overseas nurses to navigate diverse and challenging healthcare environments.
Very interesting to know about this. Do you have any message for the nurses you want to share?
So, to all my nurses who are watching this, remember that your dedication and your compassion makes an immeasurable impact on the lives of those you care for. So, remember that your role is not just a profession, but it is a calling that touches hearts and makes a difference every day. So, here are few tips which I want to share with each nurses, because being nurse, I know that what kind of challenges we are facing in the healthcare department. So as you navigate the complexity of healthcare, there are few messages which I want to share. First of all, you should think that your work is invaluable, that the care you provide has a lasting impact, right? So you should your impact is beyond measure. Your influence reaches far beyond the medical task you perform. So your empathy, your kindness, and the human connection which you establish with the patient leave a lasting impression. So do not underestimate yourself, do not underestimate your influence. And also see, medicine and healthcare department, they are dynamic field, and ongoing learning is essential, because we are so into our profession that we never get time, so we never take that opportunities to learn and to grow. You should always grab opportunities to expand your knowledge, stay updated on the latest research, and you should always invest in the professional development, because continuous learning not only will enhance your skills but also will contribute to improved patient outcome. And also you have to advocate for the change. See, you have to use your voice to advocate for the positive change if you think you need in that your healthcare environment. And also, while you are caring for others, don't forget to care for yourself. Self care matters. Nursing can be very demanding, as I say, both physically and emotionally. So you should always prioritize self care, maintain a healthy work life balance, and seek support when you need. So do you deserve the same compassion you extend to others. So thank you for your unwavering commitment to providing exceptional care. Your compassion and dedication truly makes a difference in the lives of patients and contribute to the well-being of our communities. Thank you so much.